Welcome back to our deep dive. Today we're getting into the weeds of SAP, specifically how companies shift stock between their own divisions or plants.
Yeah, we're looking at a specific process called the stock transfer order with delivery via shipping. Sounds a bit formal, maybe?
It does, and that's kind of the point. It's for when a simple transfer isn't enough and you need proper logistics involved.
Exactly. Think picking, packing, transport planning, the whole deal. This process really bridges SAP's materials management, and sales and distribution, SD.
So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to really grasp why a company would opt for this, well, more complex internal transfer method.
Let's get into it. It starts with a division that needs the stock.
Okay, let's say Division 110 needs something from Division 140.
Right. So Division 110 doesn't just, email someone. They create a stock transfer order, an STO.
And that's done in using transaction ME21N. Yeah.
Correct. They use a specific type of purchase order set up just for these internal moves.
Oh.
And interestingly, the supplying division, Division 140 in our case, is actually set up and treated like an internal vendor within SAP for this transaction.
Huh. So 110 is buying from 140 internally. Formalizes the request, I suppose.
Precisely. It creates a clear demand signal. So the STO exists, now what?
Now the action shifts over to the supplying division, 140, and specifically their shipping department. This is where SD comes in.
Yep. The folks in shipping at Division 140 will see this STO pop up. They use transactions like VL10B or maybe a Fiori app these days.
To do what exactly?
To create an outbound delivery document based on that STO. The STO basically acts as their shipping request.
Okay, so the outbound delivery, that sounds important.
It absolutely is. It's the central document for the physical process at the sending plant.
Yeah.
It drives the picking, the packing confirmation, transport planning.
And generating shipping paperwork, even if it's internal.
Yes, things like an internal delivery note. It ensures everything is documented and handled properly, just like an external shipment, really.
Right. So the delivery is created, picking and packing is done, then they ship it.
Well, first they record the goods issue in SAP against that delivery document.
Ah, the trigger point.
Right.
What does that do in the system?
Two main things. It reduces the stock quantity at the supplying division, 140, and crucially...
It marks the stock as in transit.
Exactly. The system knows those goods have left 140, but haven't arrived at 110 yet. They're physically moving.
Is there a way to see that in transit stock easily?
Oh, yeah. Transaction MB5T is specifically for that. It gives you a report showing all the stock currently moving between locations based on these STOs. Very useful.
Okay, super handy for visibility.
Yeah.
So the truck arrives at Division 110. What happens in SAP then?
Division 110 needs to record the goods receipt, often done in MyGo.
And they reference the original STO number or the
Yeah.
delivery number.
Either, usually. They reference the incoming shipment. Posting this goods receipt takes the stock out of that in-transit status.
And puts it into Division 110's available inventory. Completes the loop.
The transfer is done. System quantities match physical reality again.
So we've walked through the steps, but back to the big question. Why all this complexity? Why not just a simple transfer posting, like a 301 movement?
It really boils down to needing that detailed logistical control.
You mean the picking, packing, planning?
Yes, all of it. This STO with delivery process gives you full management and documentation of those shipping steps. You generate actual shipping documents.
Which you wouldn't get with a simple movement type.
Not in the same integrated way, no. Plus, you get much better visibility. That MB5T transaction showing stock in transit, that relies on this process.
So it connects the dots much better between purchasing, inventory, and the actual shipping functions, even internally.
Absolutely. It's essential when the physical movement requires formal management, maybe because of distance or value, or just company policy demanding that level of control.
It kind of mirrors the external sales and shipping process, but applied internally.
You've got it. That internal rigor helps with tracking, maybe internal costing, and just keeping the internal supply chain running smoothly. It prevents stock from just disappearing into a black hole between plants.
Okay, let's quickly recap. We started with the request, the STO in
Then the supplying plant created an outbound delivery in SD to manage the shipping steps,
Goods issue posts the stock out and into transit.
which you can track with MB5T.
And finally, goods receipt at the receiving plant brings it into their stock using MyGo.
The key benefit being that full logistical control and visibility.
It really highlights how different parts of a large organization need robust processes to work together, doesn't it?
Definitely. So here's something to think about. Beyond just tracking stock, How does having such a structured internal process potentially change the mindset or efficiency of the teams involved compared to just doing a quick inventory adjustment? Does that formality improve overall discipline?
Interesting angle. Something for you all to ponder. That's all for this deep dive. Welcome back to our deep dive. Today we're getting into the weeds of SAP, specifically how companies shift stock between their own divisions or plants.
Yeah, we're looking at a specific process called the stock transfer order with delivery via shipping. Sounds a bit formal, maybe?
It does, and that's kind of the point. It's for when a simple transfer isn't enough and you need proper logistics involved.
Exactly. Think picking, packing, transport planning, the whole deal. This process really bridges SAP's materials management, and sales and distribution, SD.
So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to really grasp why a company would opt for this, well, more complex internal transfer method.
Let's get into it. It starts with a division